Okay, welcome to another episode of the Weekly Last Line. This is where I cover some topics that pop up out of nowhere or just little minor things. Going to talk about the channel, going to talk about some free games, all kinds of cool things. This one actually just broke, and I felt like it was very important to cover. This was not one I had really a time to just make a video by itself, so we're going to do a brief little discussion on this here. Microsoft has considered spinning off Xbox. The information reports. This is from Reuters right here. This is absolutely an insane story, guys. If you don't know anything about this, I will explain. So they were considering options. I'm not sure if they are doing that actively or if this was like a past tense kind of thing. But it says Microsoft is considering options for its Xbox gaming unit, including a potential spinoff or restructuring as a wholly owned subsidiary. The information reported on Friday, citing 3 people with direct knowledge of the discussions. The Windows maker is also weighing options such as creating a joint venture with other partners as it prepares to overhaul the unit, which could make the gaming business easier to sell, the report said. This is absolutely insane because Xbox has really been on a hell of a roller coaster ever since, Asha Sharma has basically taken over. They have been doing a lot of interesting things, of course. Most recently, you may have heard that Gears of War E-Day is no longer coming to PlayStation 5. There's people saying that this was a last-minute thing. Some people saying this was planned for a while. It's not really known for sure what the case is, but they have been making claims that they're going to be looking at making games exclusive again. And then we get this news right here, which absolutely kind of shakes things up with, I would say for sure. I mean, imagine a Xbox that, they're still owned by Microsoft, but they're operating in a completely separate capacity. That sounds pretty interesting. It's not like Microsoft doesn't have other companies that does this. They, of course, own LinkedIn and GitHub, and they operate in a similar model to this. They're owned by Microsoft, but they are operated independently. So this could be a very interesting change. I'm not really sure what to think about this, but I think it might be actually the right move, especially given the fact that being under Microsoft's direct umbrella hasn't really bode the best for the company. I mean, everybody knows, if you are an Xbox fan, chances are you became an Xbox fan. Either you were a fan from the original Xbox days, so you were a fan from the start, or you became a fan more likely with the Xbox 360, which was their most successful console. That was the one that sold the most units. I think it sold like 85 million units or something like that, which is more than the original Xbox and the Xbox One combined. And I don't know what the exact sales numbers for the series is. I think I heard somewhere around 40, 45 million for the series of consoles, which ain't too bad. But, obviously it's nowhere near what the PlayStation 5 is at. It's like a 90 plus million. So obviously they have a lot of catching up to do. There have been greener pastures for sure with Xbox, but this is actually pretty interesting news. I am interested to see what's going on. But of course, when it comes to any kind of company shakeups, another thing you have to keep in mind, that's going to mean restructuring. That's going to mean layoffs. That means people getting out the job. They're not going to be a part of the Xbox team anymore because they're going to be cutting costs. And that kind of sucks, especially since you kind of need people in order to reestablish the brand, kind of bring it back to prominence. So I don't know how successful this is going to be, but I do think it might be the right move. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a classic trip here. This is a game I've been playing recently. It's a little game called Mercenary Kings. This is actually I don't know if it is the first game from Tribute Games or like one of the first or whatever, because Tribute Games has made a lot of really awesome indie games. You might be familiar, of course, with various games like Scott Pilgrim EX or TMNT Shredder's Revenge, all kinds of cool games that they've made. But Mercenary Kings was one of their first, and this is actually a really cool. Basically, it's kind of a roguelike Metal Slug, essentially. You know, you have like these different missions that you'll do. You pick up different kinds of loot and power-ups and things like that. You know, you pick up materials so you can craft better weapons, better armor. And, you know, it gets pretty repetitive sometimes. That is one downside with this game, but it is such a blast to play. It's got a really banger soundtrack. Love the art style. This game is a lot of fun. It is very addictive. And one thing that's really cool, you have up to 4-player multiplayer. That is both local co-op as well as online. So you have a lot of options to enjoy this game. This was a game I originally got from PlayStation Plus for free, but I've been playing it on PC lately. You know, I've had the Reloaded Edition, which I guess they added some new content and all that good stuff. This is one, it's an oldie, but it's a goodie. It's been about 12 years, guys, since it came out. It's still really good. Definitely take a look at Mercenary Kings for sure. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Nintendo Direct. Nintendo finally had the big Nintendo Direct. You know, the one that everybody is rumoring, oh, Nintendo's going to have a Direct in June. And then, of course, Nintendo, being Nintendo, didn't say anything until the last minute, pretty much. They didn't say that they were going to do a Nintendo Direct until the day before they did the Nintendo Direct. And, you know, we had a lot of different game showcases. We had Summer Game Fest. We had the Sony State of Play. Xbox had their showing. I forget what they call theirs or whatever. And then, of course, we had Nintendo Direct. Now, out of all the showcases, just based on the actual game announcements, I'm actually kind of most excited about the Nintendo Direct because they had a lot of good announcements. Of course, everybody knows Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is going to have an actual remake, a brand new from scratch remake of one of the most popular and beloved Zelda games of all time, Ocarina of Time. I do finally remember, of course, playing that on the N64 back in the day. Got that for Christmas. Absolutely was a blast. Hasn't aged the absolute best, but it is still really good. Actually, I was playing a modded version on PC that supports like multiplayer and stuff like that with some friends not that long ago. I'd say it's about a month ago or so. That was actually absolutely a blast to play it that way. And we were able to do all kinds of different modifiers, and they were able to like randomize like where the dungeons and items and stuff like that were. It's actually really cool. So it'll be very fun to revisit that. Of course, we got a new Xenoblade game coming out. I'm a huge fan of that series. That's going to be sweet. I'm telling you. Of course, new Switch Sports Resort. You know, the Nintendo Switch Sports. They've got a new one coming out for the Switch 2. It's going to have all kinds of games, including, of course, thumb wrestling, because everybody is wanting thumb wrestling, obviously, right? Of course, we got the Dusk Bloods. That is going to be the new FromSoft exclusive for the Switch. They didn't show any gameplay, but they said that they are going to be doing a closed beta test kind of thing or whatever, like a network test, I think they called it. So people will have a chance to see the game for the first time this summer. They didn't really share much details about that, of course. They dropped the Star Fox demo, which if you haven't seen, I have played that gameplay. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Damn, it looks good. But big problem. $80. Nintendo's doing it again. They're pulling off this, they're doing this variable pricing shit. And then it was, of course, only Mario Kart World that was doing the $80 price point. And then no. We got to have it on Fire Emblem now. Fire Emblem is now $80 as well. Absolutely insane, Nintendo. Can't believe you guys. But Nintendo is Nintendo, of course. You know, Capcom still going to be supporting the Switch 2 very well. Probably one of the best third-party studios, without a doubt. Bringing the new Onimusha game to the Switch 2 day one, just like the other platforms. That's going to be really cool as well. Kingdom Hearts 4. Now, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy, but I know it is such a big deal. There is a ton of people out there. And the fact that they dropped this at the Switch 2 conference. That was obviously a huge deal. And of course, they're bringing all the classic Kingdom Hearts games as well to the Switch 2. Kingdom Hearts 1 through 3, they're bringing all of those over. Of course, if you remember, some years back, they were doing a cloud version of Kingdom Hearts on the original Switch. So you had to actually be connected constantly online to play it because the Switch couldn't handle the game. So they were basically streaming the game to you. Guess what? Guess what? If you bought that cloud version of the game, time's going to be ticking. That is not going to last forever. Square Enix actually announced that they are going to be shutting down services on that. I forgot what the exact date was, but makes you think, should you support cloud gaming when companies can willy-nilly just do that? Yeah, not cool at all. But, if you weren't the sucker that bought the cloud version in the first place and you want to play these games on the Switch, you'll be able to do that pretty soon. October 8th. Let's see if there was anything else. Oh, yeah, they have the definitive editions for all the Xenoblade Chronicles games. Because they already did one for Chronicles X, but they're going to be doing that for 1 through 3 now on the Switch 2, of course, getting all the visual upgrades and, higher frame rate, better fidelity, all that good stuff. Of course, they're going to be doing physical editions. I'm sure there's going to be like upgrade packs you can buy. I forgot what all the details were on that, but really cool. Really cool. They had a lot of interesting announcements. They're doing one of those limited time deals and like how they did for Mario 35 and stuff like that, but they're doing one for Donkey Kong. So they're going to be doing the DK challenge, going to be playing classic Donkey Kong games, Donkey Kong, like the original one, of course, Donkey Kong Country, playing the Game Boy games, all that stuff. And if you have Donkey Kong Bonanza, there are some challenges specific for that as well. So that's kind of cool. Nintendo had a lot of banger announcements. Of course, Splatoon Raiders, that's going to be coming out pretty soon. That'll be next month. That might be pretty fun. Devil May Cry is making the switch over to the Switch 2. And you're going to get that in crispy 60 frames per second, as would be expected, obviously. Final Fantasy Resonance. Now, that one was really impressive. That is the original Final Fantasy game. It's like literally the 4th remake or 5th remake, depending on if you count Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy or whatever the hell it's called, the Souls-like Final Fantasy game, if you count that as a remake of the original Final Fantasy. But yeah, that one is going to be the Octopath style with the high definition 2D sprites with the 3D backgrounds. That absolutely is just stunning. I mean, Square Enix really knocked it out of the park with that engine, and it's going to be cool to play Final Fantasy in that style, but they're going to be, of course, it's a remake, so there's obviously a lot of new changes and things like that. Special shout out to Piku Niku 2. Piku Niku was a really fun indie platforming game, with different kind of puzzle elements and stuff like that. Absolutely was a blast to play. I actually played that originally on the Switch. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. And, just so much more. Of course, they got a new Muramasa game. They're bringing over Stellar Blade. Of course, Lords of the Fallen 2. All kinds of interesting games are going to be coming to the Switch too. So, it seems like given that they have a lower price point than Microsoft or Sony for their console, and then all of these game announcements and things like that, it seems like Nintendo is poised for success. But let's talk about my channel for a little bit because, obviously it's not poised for success, but I did do a few videos this week. I wanted to kind of discuss a little bit, of course. I did a gameplay kind of like impression and review and kind of Pronoun Palace, which is a really fun word spelling roguelike game. Has elements of Scrabble, Boggle, yada yada. Obviously, with the name Pronoun Palace, this game is pretty woke, as you would expect. It's got a very humorous writing and stuff like that. This is a really cool game. And so I definitely recommend you check that out. We, of course, also did a video. This one might be one people have no idea what the hell this is about. The pink, purple, blue video game problem is deeper and darker than you thought. This is a follow-up from a video I did the previous week about Smash JT. This is It kind of starts off with Smash AT, but it goes in a completely unhinged direction. This was pretty much all like off the cuff. I picked out some different links to use as inspiration for my discussion, but this was actually a very fun video. So if you like some good humor, I definitely recommend you check that out, of course. We did do a gameplay demonstration for the Star Fox demo that, of course, is now available on the eShop. Absolutely was impressed with the quality of the demo, both the gameplay as well as the visual fidelity. This one is definitely one I'm very much looking forward to playing later this month, whenever the final game cuts out. I did just drop a video earlier today where I was talking about the generative AI issue that Tomb Raider currently has going on. Very interesting discussion regarding that. And of course, some kind of red flags from the, I forget what their name is, Crystal Dynamics, their PR team, kind of coaching the developer into what they can and can't say in regards to this Gen AI usage. So pretty crazy stuff there. And then, of course, the members can watch this one right now. If you're not a member, of course, it'll be available on Sunday. I did a video reaction to a video that I did a very long time called The Great Gamestop Heist of 2017. That's why this video is titled Reacting to When I Robbed GameStop with an Insane Trade-In Promotion. So this is going to be a fun one for sure. I hope you guys will check this out whenever that drops. So yeah, that's what I've been up to this week as far as the video content. Now, I have some pickups. And funny enough, this is related to GameStop. And we're going to have a little bit of a rant about this once we look at what we did. Because on 6/7 day, June 7th, of course, that's 6/7 day now, according to GameStop, they were doing a special promotion where they were selling various games for $6 or $7. And they had a lot of different games. I decided to pick up a bunch of 360 games, and I picked up a PS4 and an Xbox One game as well. So I'm going to show you what I have here. Unfortunately, I can't show you the physical copies. That's what I would like to do. But their shipping estimates are absolutely ass. I've gotten all kinds of crazy runarounds with this. Supposedly, it's going to be Monday, the 15th, is when I'm supposed to be getting all of this stuff in 3 different shipments. But I did order the order. That is such a weird phrase. The order 1886. That was actually a really cool third-person shooter, visually stunning. People complain, of course, about it being super short and all that shit, but it was like absolutely brilliant. At the same time, this game was brilliant, and it sucks that we're not going to get the order 1887 or whatever they would have called it, because they were going places with this, and now that developer is basically defunct. I think they end up getting bought out by Amazon, and you know how that went with Amazon games. Call of Duty 2, the Game of the Year edition for Xbox 360. South Park: The Stick of Truth for Xbox 360. This one is completely pointless, technically, because I already have this game on Steam. I have it on PS4, so this is definitely going to be a downgrade, but I am curious to see how well the older console handles this game, so that'll be kind of fun to check out. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. I already have the regular Red Dead Redemption on the 360, so I picked up the Undead Nightmare disc separately as well. It is technically cheaper to do that than to buy the Game of the Year edition that includes both, so why not? Saints Row, the original Saints Row on the 360. I already have Saints Row 2, which I didn't absolutely need because I'm mainly trying to prioritize games that are either exclusive to the 360 or it's just kind of the best way to play it, which that's kind of the case with the original Red Dead Redemption. There's actually a very interesting reason behind that, even though they have a remaster and all that stuff now. Then I got Gears of War Ultimate Edition and Rare Replay 2-pack. I was originally going to just get Rare Replay 2-pack, but then I saw that this one was literally the same price. I was like, well, why not? You know, other than the slightly shittier cover art, it's the same thing, and you're getting extra games, so why not? Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Now, the gold edition of this game is absolutely nuts in terms of price. It's like over $100 plus, which is absolutely crazy. I just got the original one because way back in the day when I originally had this game, I actually did buy the DLC that was like $10 or whatever it was. So I don't need the gold edition because I could just pop this in and I'll have access to that content. The gold edition just included that DLC is all it did. And then Grand Theft Auto episodes from Liberty City. Again, it's cheaper to buy this and GTA 4 separately than it is to buy the full collection. So, unless you really want the full collection, that's kind of the way to go. So those are the 360 games I am looking forward to eventually getting whenever GameStop and the FedEx and the Postal Service get their head out of their ass. So, yeah. Okay. So we're going to go talk about that video that I talked about. The pink, purple, blue video game problem is deeper and darker than you thought. So I'm just going to kind of read off some of the comments. This one was pretty well received. People have generally dug this. So we got Ice Dogo 21. You forgot about the disposable paper solo jazz cups from the 90s. How many people drank from those cups? Trillions? All gay now. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh boy, who hasn't drank out of those? We got Ethan Bailey 6679. This popped up on my feed, and I won't lie, I thought you were being serious, so I kept skipping forward to see. And I'm really glad this was just a shitpost. GG's, well done. And we got the real Carm Aquarius. This video radicalized me. GG's. We got 2 GG's here, so we're doing something right. We got John Bray 9812. Fuck, I think my dad might have been purple now that I think about it. That can be a problem. Hopefully you get that looked at. We got Pierre Garot 6590. Just with the classic LOL. Thank you very much for that, Pierre. Let's see. We got Chris B-X1I. I get so triggered when I see this color sky in real life. Nature is woke. Great satire, mate. I can never tell if these Twitter people are sincere or rage baiting for engagement revenue. Also, can they decide if it's a trans thing or a bi thing? They need to pick one thing to be mad about, LOL. And we got Reverse Eon with a bunch of laughing faces, including the cat one, of course. So you got to have the cat one to really drive it home. And unfortunately, not everybody enjoyed this video. We did have Massive 953 that said, bleh, hoped for a serious video about color theory. Instead, it's just bullshit. Yeah, I am really sorry about that. This video wasn't meant to be a serious video. There was one that Smash talked about and all this good stuff, and I didn't find that particularly interesting or relevant at all because it's just colors, honestly. But it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get right into the freebie games, guys. We actually got a bunch of games free this week on Steam. We've got 5 of them. 6 if you count the Gravity Circuit, which is the one I told you about last week, is still free for a couple of days. You need to go and grab that. But we've got a few more, of course, to check out. There is Wild Terra 2 New Lands, free to keep. MMORPG, this is normally $40, guys, so you can claim that now. It's free to keep as long as you do that soon. I've already done so myself. So definitely take a look at that. Looks like it's got kind of a, isometric viewpoint, kind of like Diablo or something like that. I don't know. This game looks interesting. It's not getting the best reviews, but it is what it is. Now this one is interesting here. Eats. I think I remember this game from the Xbox 360 days or something like that. It seems like it's familiar. It's a very cartoony kind of platforming puzzle style game. They're describing that as Lemmings Meet Incredible Machine, which is actually really cool. It's actually a really old game too, apparently. It came out back in 2006, which is wild. So I guess it's been 20 years. I guess the publisher realized, we're probably not making any more money on this one. Let's just give it away. But yeah, go ahead and grab Eats, guys. And then we've got the Red Lantern, narrative dog sledding game about survival. This one actually looks pretty good. I want to kind of show you a little bit of a video clip on that one here.
Did you know
so it's got a very nifty art style, very cute. Of course, you know, you're going to have your sledding dogs kind of exploring the environment, all that kind of cool stuff. You know,
I heard a rumor that
I won't let me skip ahead there. Okay. Oh, you got different choices and whatnot. So definitely check that out. I mean, if you see this video and it's no longer free, it's because you missed out. But, you know, I'm trying to inform you guys ahead of time. That's why it's important to watch the videos, guys. Wink, wink. Now, if you're into the creepy games, here we go. This is a big one right here. Happy's Humble Burger Farm. This is kind of like one of those style of games similar to something like Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that. I heard this was actually pretty popular. I know a few people that have enjoyed this game. And so, you know, I don't it's not my thing, honestly. I'm not really into these creepy pasta kind of games, but I think you might enjoy it if you are, you know, so definitely check that out. And then, of course, we got Tell Me Why. Tell me why you should download this game. Well, it's because it's free, guys. You can get this for free. Just click where it says Tell Me Why, play game. You'll be able to claim the whole thing. Normally, they do episode 1 for free, and then you have to purchase the rest of the game. You know, but I guess because it's like one of those, you know, games that is LGBTQ friendly, you know, they usually do it for free every June, from what I understand. And even our good old friend at Woke and Censored Games Alert, he didn't mark it as a don't recommend for a woke game. That is actually very surprising. They said a rare case of LGBTQ game that presents the narrative very well, doesn't feel forced. It has to be this character to tell this story. Other woke devs should take a lesson from this game. That's probably the greatest praise they could ever have. So basically, you know, it's that was a video that I did a while back. You know, actually, I think I discussed that from the last week's weekly last line. So check that out. Of course, you know, check that out, guys. And then, of course, we do have some good old freebie games as well over there on the Amazon Luna. You know, you hit up the free games over there if you got the Prime membership. We've got Paradise Killer. You can grab that one for free over at GOG, guys. Very cool little RPG with, you know, very pink stuff, looks like. I think you might dig it. Then we got Sin Slayer's Reign of the Eighth. This is going to be a good old classic RPG style game with the, you know, the turn-based combat and all that good stuff. You know, pretty interesting art style. That one might be one I'll have to check out. Then we also have Tested on Humans Escape Room. These are all GOG that you can claim these games. This is going to be one of those escape room type games, you know, like you got to, well, it's just like it sounds, you know, so definitely look into that if you're kind of into those exploration puzzle kind of games. And then G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. This one's on the Epic Game Store. This is one I definitely want to check out right here. Classic 2D beat 'em up style. Very cool visual design. This looks like it's right up my alley. So that's one I've been eyeing for a while to purchase. But since I've got my Prime membership and I've got Epic Game Store, why not get it for free? So that is all really cool stuff, guys. That is all really cool stuff. But I did want to show you the video of the week here. This was actually a video I just watched earlier today, and I thought the subject matter was really interesting. This is from SosoTheDestroyer, where she has a video titled, "What Even Is Gaming Anymore?" Check the link in the description to check this video out for yourself. We're going to go ahead and strap the headphones on. We'll give it a little bit of a watch, just a little bit, just so you can get a taste of it.
Gaming isn't like how it used to be, and it's all going downhill. This argument has been a major part of gaming discourse for years, decades even. Yet somehow in 2026, it's completely inescapable. And truly, it would be naive to just slap on a smile and say that actually everything is totally chill and like normal. It's not. There's
Yeah.
a lot of fear and anger in the industry right now among game devs and gamers alike. Much of the angst here focuses on a generational divide in gaming. In other words, some people fear this divide as the end of classical gaming, or the end of gaming on a PC or console itself. The evidence in the industry and broader economy tells a much weirder story, however.
Yeah, I definitely recommend you check out this video. She has a lot of very interesting points, and she really goes deep into the subject matter. This actually kind of most directly relates to the youth of today, like the Gen Alpha and stuff like that, and how they aren't really adopting the hobby like, Gen Z or millennials, or I guess older Gen X and whatnot. So, very interesting subject matter. I definitely recommend you give a look at that video. And I think with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call it on this week's The Weekly Last Line. We've covered quite a lot of topics, and I hope you guys had fun watching this video. Be sure to check back next week. It's going to be every Saturday morning. Members will get a slight first peek, but not by much, because I'm going to be uploading this video. Well, it's about 10:15 right now, my time on Friday. So, but yeah, definitely be sure to keep an eye out every week. I'm going to give you a little bit of news and a little bit of fun stuff and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So, thank you very much for tuning in. And that's going to be the last line.